Hi guys, I will try today to create a contact list app. I can enter here a person, the name of the person and the phone number, and I press add contact and the contact will be added. If the fields are empty, a warning message will appear, and we have here a delete icon button. So if I click it, the contact will be deleted. If I clear all the contacts, a badge will appear showing no contacts, please add some. And we have a heading here, and we have a button here for toggling the color mode. So let's start programming. Let's create a React app. We open PowerShell window, create npx, create React app contact list. Okay, and we wait. Okay, the app was created. Now we go inside the folder contact list, and we want to add the Chakra-UI dependency, so we go to getting started, Chakra-UI website. We copy this command and we execute and we wait. Now we need to install React icons. And then we need to install nano ID to generate the ID, random IDs for the contacts, NBMI nano ID. Now we open Visual Studio Code. Okay. We do some cleaning. Don't need these, neither these files. We delete all of them. Now we go to index.js and we delete this line and this, and we go to app.js and we delete these lines and also these. Now we add contact list text. Now we want to start the server, npm start, and we wait to see the results. So we still have some errors. I think we did not save this file. Okay, we have another error. Yeah, this one. Delete, and we have it here. Now we go back to index.js and we will try to add the Chakra provider. So Chakra provider needs to be here. Chakra provider, and we include the app inside Chakra provider. Now we make sure that chakra provider was imported successfully. Now we make some settings for the color mode script, and also we need extend them from Chakra-UI. Now we define an object config. So we use initial color mode light and use system color mode to false, and also we define the theme const theme equals to extend theme, and we use the config inside the theme. This is a hook, and the initial value is this object, the config, which is the initial color mode will be light, and we don't want to use the system color mode. So for chakra provider, we provide a theme prop, which will be our theme, this one, and also we need to add the color mode script, and the initial color mode will be light. Okay, and this should be it. Yeah. So now we check out our, as you can see, we have the color mode was changed and the font changed too. That's okay. Now we move to the app.js. We need to import the use color mode, from Chakra-UI React, and we want to use it here. The use color mode hook const color mode and toggle color mode, and we use this function use color mode. Okay, and something is off. There should be, yeah, that's okay. Okay, now we want to add an icon button. And we make sure the icon button was imported successfully, otherwise we need to add it ourselves. Icon, this icon will change according to the color mode state. So if the color mode equals to dark, then we must use an icon from React icons. Did we import the React icons? Import from React icons. We need to these icons from Bootstrap, and we have BS light bulb and BS light bulb off. Okay. So if the color mode is dark, we need to show this icon, otherwise we will show the other icon, which is the BS Bootstrap light bulb off. So we copy it and we paste it here. Now this is the icon. Okay. Now we need to add an on click, yeah, on click toggle color mode, and on clicking this icon the color mode will be toggled, and we need to close this icon button, yeah. We need the icon to be round, and also we need the size to be medium. And the icon should be on the right, so we need to align it, align self, flex end. After that we need to add the heading and margin bottom equals to 10 multiplied by 4, and the font weight will be extra bold, and the size will be X large. Okay, so the heading will be contacts. Okay, now we need to wrap these two components with VStack, and we want a padding of 4 multiplied by 4, and we move all these inside the VStack. Okay, now we check the side and we can see the button here, the icon button here on the right, and by clicking it we have a dark light mode, and we have the heading here, and everything is okay. Now we need to add three new components. So we create new folder and we call it components, and inside this folder we create a contact.js, and we need also contact list.js, and also we need a form to add the contact.js. Now we create each component using scaffolding and this extension ES7 React Redux GraphQL. So we start with the contact RFCE with export, and we save also a contact list RFCE, control save, and on the add contact RFCE. So everything created successfully. Now we go to app.js, and we should have here a contact list, contact list, and the add contact for it, add contact. Okay, now we check the site and nothing is wrong, so we go back and continue. Now inside the app.js we need the contacts to be saved in a state, and the state will be linked to contacts local storage, and we need an add contact and delete contact function to be used in the add contact will be used in the add contact component, and the delete contact will be used in the contact list component. So we want to import the use state and the use effect from React. Import in the app.js, of course, app import use state, and use effect from React. Now we want to define the context state, const. We have contacts as state, and we need the function for setting contacts, and this will be use state and okay. Now we need the initial state for the contacts, so we use function JSON dot parse local storage. We need JSON because anything stored in local storage will be in JSON, so we need to parse it from the local storage. So we go to local storage dot get item, and we call this item contacts. So if we don't have anything in the local storage, in the contacts local storage, we will need to return the empty array, otherwise we will have errors. Now we need to use effect hook, and the effect will be rendered whenever an update, whenever we have an update on the contact state. But what should we do here? We need to reset the items in the local storage. Set item, of course, the contacts local storage, and the values should be from the contact state, but these should be stringified, so we use JSON dot stringify the state contacts. Okay, so now we have the update and the initial state. Now we need to add the contact. We need a function to do that. Const add contact, and the argument will be contact, a contact, and adding the contact will have to call set contacts. We spread the contacts state, and we add the contact, the new contact to it. Now we need a function to delete the contacts. Const delete contact, and we will delete the contact using its ID. So we need also a function. So we need to filter the contacts using filter, and a function which return a Boolean expression, and we need all the contacts which doesn't which have an ID that doesn't equal to the provided ID, and this is done like so. ID. Now we need to assign the result to filtered contacts like so, and at last we need to update the state by using the new array, the new filtered contacts array, and this should do it. So now we have, as you can see, contacts state. The initial value will be provided by the local storage, the contacts local storage, and whenever the contacts is updated, a use effect will be rendered, and the values will be from contacts into the local storage. Now we need to add contacts. We provided a function for adding contacts which uses set contacts, and we need a function for deleting the contact which use the ID, and the filter. The filter uses a function that returns a Boolean expression. If the contact.id doesn't equal the provided ID, then we must have it, and we update the contacts state using this filtered contacts. This function will be called using the delete button, and this function will be called using the add contact button. But we need to pass these functions as props to the right components. So here the add contact will have a prop which equals add contact, and the contact list needs the contacts as a props, and it needs the delete contact, now we check the site and we have an error, filtered contacts. Actually this error is because we didn't add the const. Okay, now we have an error here. It's a warning, and we should use for the effects a function, and this function should be called this way. Okay, now we check our progress and everything is working correctly. So as you can see, we need to create the add contact component and the contact list component. So we will start by the contact list. Okay, so in the contact list, as we saw before, we need the contacts and the delete contact prop. So we add here contact and this prop. Okay, we need to show the badge if the length of the contacts is 0. So we make a conditional statement. If not, contacts dot length so we return I always forgot the semicolon, but it's okay. We need the badge component from Chakra-UI. We always check if the component is imported successfully. Color scheme, for example, we use teal, and we can add a padding by 4 multiplied by 4, and also a margin multiplied by 4, 60 pixels, and we need the badge to be rounded, so we use border radius, and the value will be large. We also need a width of 100%, and for responsiveness we need max width to be an object for base devices about 19, which are the base devices will be the mobile application 19 VW, and small devices will be 80 VW, and for the large devices we will have 50 VW, and for the X large we will have 40 VW. Okay. Now we need to make the text aligned in the center, and we close this badge and we add the text: no contacts, please add some. Okay, this will be returned if the length of the contacts is 0. Now we need to add the list of the contacts. So we create a vstack, we use vstack, and we use a divider which will be between the lines, I mean stack divider, and the border color can be gray 600, and the border width will be 1 pixel, and the padding will be 2 for the border radius, we also have large, and for responsiveness we can have these two, and we need the items inside the VStack to be stretched, so we use align items to be stretched, and this is our VStack. Now inside this VStack we will have the contacts list, so we add the list using mapping from the contacts which was provided using the props to the contact list. So we use this, contacts dot map contact, and we should return here the contact component. There should be a key to avoid React warnings. Contact dot ID, and the contact itself will be passed through props contact. So each contact from the map will be passed as props. Now the contact component will have the delete button, so we need also to pass the delete contact function this way. Now we close the contact component. Now we go check our site, and as you can see we have this badge because until now we didn't add any contacts, and the badge is okay, no contacts, please add some. But now we need a form here, and also we need the contacts themselves. So we continue with the contact. So regarding the contact.js, here as we saw before, we passed the contact and the delete contact as props, so we make sure we have them here, contact and the delete contact. Okay, now we have the props. Now we add an H stack. Inside the horizontal stack we have a text. Inside the text we have the contact dot name, because each contact have an ID, a name, a phone, and that's it. The ID will be used for the delete, and the name and the phone will be displayed. So we have here a text. We have also a spacer. separate the name from the phone. So we have here text, and inside the text we use this, the prop contact.phone, and we have another spacer, and now we want to add an icon button, icon. For the icon, we also want to import an icon from React icons bootstrap. This icon is the bootstrap trash field. So we use this icon here, bootstrap trash field, and okay, we want to close this icon, and the icon should be is round, of course, and it should go all the way to the right align self. So we use here flex end, and on clicking this icon we want to call the delete contact, but delete contact using the ID of the contact. So we use contact dot ID. Now we need to close the icon button component. This is the contact component. So we save it, but first we make sure that we imported the H stack and also the text. Now we check the site. Until now everything is working fine. Okay, now we have the contact list. To show the contact list we need to build the add contact form. We go back to app.js and we have the add contact component here, and we remember that we passed the add contact function as a prop to the add contact component, so we need to make sure we have it here. Okay, now we need to build first. Let me add two states here using the use state. So the use state hook, use state from React. Now we add the name and set name, use state, and the initial value will be empty, and another state for the phone, these states must be, they are a must and they should be added, because later we will control two inputs using these states. Okay, now we added the name and the phone. Okay, now we want to build our form. So we start by the form. On submit, we want to handle submit ourselves. Now inside the form we have a horizontal stack with margin top about 6 multiplied by 4 pixels, and we have also the width, and for responsiveness we can copy these 3 lines here to match. Okay, this is the H stack. We make sure that horizontal stack is imported. Now, inside the horizontal stack, we need 2 inputs and a button. An input for the name, input for the phone, and input for the and a button. First, input for the name, the variant will be outline, the place holder will be add name, and the value will be name, because we want this input to be controlled by the state on change. We have a function, we have an event argument and set name e dot target get dot value, and this input is required so we can see the warning message if we didn't write the name. So this is the input for the name, and it is controlled by the name state. Now we copy these lines and we build the phone, add phone number, and the value will be the state phone, and on change we will set the phone, and this field is required too. Now we need to add the button. We use a color scheme to be teal, for example, and the padding x on the x. For example, 10 multiplied by 4, 40 pixels. And the type of the button will be submit, because we have a form. Okay. And the text for the button will be add contact. Okay. Now we need to handle the onSubmit event for the form. So we add here handle submit function, and this function should be created here, const, handle submit event, and the function. First we want to prevent the default behavior of the submit button, the submit event. Next we need to add the contacts of a person, but the person should be defined first. Person. The person have an ID, and the ID should be generated randomly, and here we use nano ID function from the nano ID library, which we installed at the first of this video. Now we add the name, and the name should be the state, the name state, this one. Now we add the phone, and the phone of the person should be the same as the state, the phone state. Now we need to add contact for the person, and this add contact will be from this prop, and this prop, as you remember, is here, and this add contact is defined here using the set contacts. So after adding the contact, we need to empty the field and the state using set phone and set name and the empty string. So these two functions will empty the state, the name and the phone, and these two inputs, because these inputs are controlled by the states. But first, I think as you can see that the input was not defined, so we need to add it here. Input. Okay. But first, yeah, I have here. This should be enclosed using parentheses. So we make sure everything is alright. The delete contacts here should be the same as here, and this should be the same as this prop, and this one, and these should be passed here, and these should be also passed in the app.js. Here we should be very careful. So also for the add contact is used in the button. The add contact is used on click. No, it is used in the handle submit for the form. Yeah, there it is. This should be the same as this, and this should be the same as this one. Sorry, this one, and this one should be the same as this one. So I think everything is good. Sorry, we have an S here that should not be there, so we save it. Okay, now we check our app for the color mode. It's working correctly. For the name, we have this warning message. We try to add a name without a phone number, and we have another message. We try to write here this field should have only numbers, so we go back to the contact, the add contact, and the type of this input, the second input, should be type should be number. Control S. Now we check it. Now I cannot add any characters other than the numbers. So we add this contact, and the contact was added successfully. We add another one, add contact, and everything is good. And as you can see, I can add as many contacts as I need. The contacts are stored in the local storage, so I can press F12 and go. I have warnings here, so yeah, I can. It was from before, so I click on application, and I have all the contacts local storage in the application. From here, storage, localhost 3000, you can find it here. And as you can see, we have 3 contacts, 0, 1, 2, and all of them are JSON in JSON formula. So I will try to add another contact, and you can see that it is added here in the local storage of the client. Now I can clean some of these contacts, and you can see that the local storage is changing, and clearing all the contacts will show this badge, no contacts, please add some. So this is everything for today, and thank you guys, and see you next time.